Glad you're here for Unintended Consequences, Episode 31. Today's case is a reminder that complex systems rarely respond the way we expect them to. In October 1957, the German firm Chemie Grünenthal began selling thalidomide across West Germany under the name Contergan. The company described it as a non-addictive sedative that could be taken even by pregnant women without risk. Within 4 years, pediatricians in several countries began seeing clusters of infants born with phocomelia, hands or feet attached directly to the torso, or limbs entirely absent. The same compound that had been released to relieve anxiety and nausea had instead interfered with limb development in the first weeks after conception. Chemie Grünenthal had developed thalidomide in the early 1950s while searching for an inexpensive alternative to barbiturates. At the time, barbiturate overdoses were a leading cause of accidental death and suicide in Europe. A drug that produced sedation without depressing respiration appeared to solve that problem. Company pharmacologists tested the compound on rodents and observed no lethal dose. They interpreted this as evidence of unusual safety. Physicians in post-war Germany, facing crowded hospitals and limited options for treating insomnia and morning sickness, welcomed a new agent that could be sold without prescription. Regulators operated under laws written before the scale of synthetic drug effects was understood, so the absence of obvious toxicity in animals was treated as sufficient proof of human safety. Contergan reached pharmacies in late 1957 and was soon exported under license to Britain as Distaval, Canada as Kevidon, Australia, Japan, and more than 20 other countries. Sales literature emphasized that the drug had been given to thousands of patients without serious side effects and could safely calm expectant mothers. By 1960, an estimated 1 million people were taking thalidomide daily in West Germany alone. A few physicians noted peripheral neuritis in long-term users. These reports circulated slowly and did not halt over-the-counter sales. In the United States, Richardson Merrill submitted an application to the FDA. In 1960, reviewer Francis Kelsey repeatedly requested additional safety data, citing the emerging neuritis reports and the lack of controlled studies on pregnant patients. Between 1958 and 1962, roughly 10,000 children worldwide were born with thalidomide-induced malformations. Another 10 to 20,000 pregnancies are believed to have ended in miscarriage or stillbirth. The drug crossed the placenta during the narrow window of days 20 to 36 after fertilization and blocked angiogenesis required for limb bud formation. Because the molecule had shown no toxicity in adult rodents or in short-term human trials, no one had examined its effect on rapidly dividing embryonic tissue. The first published connection between the drug and phocomelia appeared in a November 1961 letter by German pediatrician Wedekind Lenz. By then, the compound had already been taken by tens of thousands of pregnant women. In countries where thalidomide remained available until early 1962, the rate of limb reduction defects rose 10 to 20-fold above baseline. Families faced lifelong medical costs, social stigma, and, in some jurisdictions, legal barriers to proving causation. The disaster also revealed how quickly a new molecule could move from laboratory to medicine cabinet when regulators relied primarily on manufacturer-submitted animal data. Grünenthal withdrew Contergan in November 1961. Most other markets followed within months. In the United States, thalidomide was never approved, sparing American births from the same scale of injury. The episode prompted passage of the 1962 Kefauver-Harris Amendments, which required proof of efficacy and more rigorous safety testing before marketing. Modern teratogenesis studies, pregnancy registries, and risk evaluation and mitigation strategies trace their regulatory lineage to that statute. Survivors in several countries later received compensation funds, though amounts and eligibility rules varied. Today, thalidomide is prescribed under strict controls for leprosy and certain cancers, with mandatory contraception and monthly testing requirements that themselves illustrate how later safeguards were built on the original failure. When a new compound shows no toxicity in adult animals, Further investigation is still required for every stage of human development that might be affected. Regulatory systems that treat absence of evidence as evidence of safety create an opening for molecules whose effects appear only under specific biological conditions. Requiring independent verification of both efficacy and reproductive safety before widespread use remains the most direct way to prevent similar scale of harm. The question for any new therapeutic class is whether today's data standards would detect an effect as narrow and devastating as the one thalidomide produced. We'll leave it there for today. Thanks for thinking through this one with me. If you know someone who loves a good cautionary tale, send it their way, and I'll see you tomorrow with another. And before you go, this show is part of the Narrow Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Tesla Shorts Time a listen, your daily deep dive into everything Tesla. You can explore the whole lineup at narrownetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.